Here's everything I use to make Minecraft feel brand new. No big game changing features, just Minecraft a bit more polished. I've included everything you see here in my new mod pack called Simply Crafted, and the easiest way to install this yourself is to head over to Modrent and download their launcher. Once installed, head over to the Discover Content tab and navigate to Modpacks. From here, search for my mod pack Simply Crafted, click install, and you'll find it in your library ready to go. First up, we've got a bunch of performance mods in this pack, which help the game to run more smoothly. Now, I'm not going to go through each one, you can find a full list of mods on the mod pack page, but there's literally no reason for you not to have these, and they're what I would deem as essential for any Minecraft player. Kicking off the visual category, the most obvious change here is of course the shaders, and I'm using the Iris mod with the complementary shader pack. Now the great thing about mod packs is that you'll automatically have the exact shader settings you see here, so you don't have to spend hours tinkering those settings yourself. Subtle Effects adds a bunch of new particles and sound effects. Fire items like candles and campfires will now have sparks, and bone mealing plants will give off this cool effect. Here's a few other effects that this mod adds. Blur is a mod that simply blurs the background when you're inside inventories. A very small change, but something that feels like it was in the game this whole time. Visual Workbench makes items stay inside of crafting tables even when you leave them, and the items you have inside are also rendered on top. Chat Heads adds a small player head next to your name in chat. Great if you play multiplayer, as this makes telling people apart that little bit easier. Another change to the chat is chat animation. This adds a simple smooth animation for new messages in chat. Another mod that affects the chat as well as every scroll bar in the game. Smooth scrolling makes scrolling through every menu a much nicer experience, most notably the creative menu and the player hotbar. If you're someone that wears a cape, Wavy Capes is the perfect mod for you. It brings your cape to life with smooth animations and realistic physics. Another change to the player, 3D skin layers replaces the normal flat second layer with a beautiful new 3D version. Better snow coverage is great if you ever want to build in the snow. It continues snow layers around blocks to where it's usually impossible to have them. Great for adding those smaller details. Zoomify is my favourite zoom mod. It allows you to scroll to zoom in and out, and it's probably one of the best out there to do so. Continuity is a mod that connects some block textures together. I mainly use it for the glass, but it also connects blocks like bookshelves and sandstone. The first of a few resource packs we've got. Fancy Crops adds a nice variation to your crops, and overall just makes them look a lot nicer. I especially love the hay bale block, a subtle but awesome change. Fresh Animations is a pack I think everyone should be using. It adds an animation overhaul to almost all mobs in the game, and the new villager eyes are a personal favourite. Better Leaves adds additional layers to leaf blocks, making them much more detailed. This is something I've used for a long time, and one of the packs I couldn't live without. Now, one of my favourite packs, this simply changes ladders to make them 3D. I mean, who doesn't want that? Going hand in hand with the ladders, Raised 3D Rails adds an awesome 3D model to all variants of rail. Continuing with the 3D packs, Better Lanterns not only adds a 3D model to lanterns, but also to chains. This makes decorating with them around your base that little bit better. Now, one of the smaller changes in this pack, this mod adds pop particles to bubbles. It also adds a new bubble particle to things like tridents and underwater explosions, as well as opening chests underwater. Explosive Enhancement is a simple mod that makes explosions look much better. It works for any explosion type in the game, and also adds a blue variant for underwater explosions. The Visual Jukebox completely overhauls the jukebox experience. The disc playing will now render on the top, and you'll also see a really cool eject animation once it's done playing. Moving into the building category now, an Axiom is an absolute must-have for any creative mode builder. It adds an extra slot to your hotbar with tools that let you make huge edits in your world within seconds. Great for easily moving large builds around, or for stacking up walls with a few scrolls. It also adds a whole new GUI with a bunch of useful tools. There's just so many new options here to go through. Now it's a bit of a learning curve, but definitely worth the time checking out and mastering. Although Axiom is the newer mod, World Edit still has its place and is a mod I use just as much. It's still great for simple things like filling and replacing, and especially good for quickly texturing builds like this one here. Now World Edit has one big problem, and that's that you cannot see the outline of a currently selected area, but that's where World Edit's CUI comes in. A simple yet very useful mod which removes the guesswork of your selection, showing you exactly where you've selected. Lightmatica is another great mod for building. It's perfect for recreating your creative builds in survival. You can load in a schematic of your design and see a ghost version to guide you whilst you build. What's great is you can also download schematics from others online and load them into your game. I personally share schematics of my builds along with full world downloads over on my Patreon. For example, you can sign up and explore my recent Italian village for yourself, and each build here has a Lightmatica blueprint for it. So for example, you can pick any build you see here, load up the blueprint for it, tells you the exact material list needed, and you can recreate it yourself in your survival world. The link is down below. Last up on the list of building tools is a mod called FreeCam. This is perfect for survival building. This simply allows you to detach your camera from the player and fly around freely. Great when building in survival to see how your build is looking from a different angle. Kicking off this category is the Terralift mod, adding almost 100 new biomes without adding any new blocks. Alongside the biomes, you'll also see unique structures generating throughout your world, from small rock formations to grand fortified villages. Pairing perfectly with Terralift, Distant Horizons extends your view distance without compromising too much on performance. It renders a simplified version of the terrain in the distance, but from afar you can't really tell a difference. This is perfect for those new biomes that Terralift adds. Villager Names gives every villager in your world a randomly generated name, which is a surprisingly charming change. It helps to make trading more personal. However, it can make you feel worse for holding those villagers hostage in your trading halls. Leave Me Alone is a small but very useful change for anyone who rides horses. You'll now completely bypass those annoying leaves when exploring through a wooded area. Next up is the classic Zero's World map. This adds a full screen map that updates as you explore, making it easy to find your way back home or to check out a top-down view of the base you've built up. Paired with the Zero's World map, Zero Zoom Out simply lets you zoom out further than you can normally. This is amazing for large-scale projects or tracking your exploration progress. Moving on to the quality of life category now. Apple Skin shows you how much hunger and saturation you'll get from food. A small change, but one you'll soon wish you had all along. It also shows a visualization for saturation, which before was just a hidden stat. Better F3 completely replaces the vanilla debug screen, making it highly customizable and much more readable. You can toggle on and off aspects that you don't need, and it also adds a very nice smooth animation. Next up we have Inv Move, a subtle but useful quality of life tweak. It simply lets you move whilst you're inside an inventory. The most helpful use of this mod is probably when you're riding on a boat. You can continue to still ride around whilst being inside of your inventory. Another way to enhance your boat riding is the Boat Item View mod. This one lets you see what you're holding in your hand whilst you're moving, perfect for when you have a map out exploring. Durability Tooltip shows the amount of durability you have left on your tools and armor. It can be customized to show the exact number, a text description, or even a progress bar. Right Click Harvest lets you harvest crops simply by right clicking. No need to break and replant. It's especially great for when you accidentally break a crop when it's not fully grown. This completely removes that from happening. Cherish Worlds adds the ability to favourite or bookmark certain worlds. Great if you have a lot of worlds but want to keep a few at the top to avoid getting lost. Resourceify allows you to browse resource packs, data packs and shaders directly in the game with a beautiful new menu. Install them directly without having to leave the game and do it the old school way. On the topic of resource packs, this mod removes those annoying pop-ups when applying an out-of-date pack and gets rid of those red highlights around them. Shulker Box Tooltips allows you to see a preview of a shulker box when hovering over it and pressing shift, one of the most popular mods out there and for good reason. Sit is a very simple mod that allows you to right click on stairs or slabs to sit down on them, perfect for resting your legs after a long day. Better Stat Screen replaces the vanilla screen with a new and improved version. This one is way easier to use and has more helpful features. The search box alone is a massive upgrade over vanilla. Now ending this category with one of my favourite all-time mods, Vanilla Refresh. This adds a bunch of new quality of life features that just fit perfectly in vanilla Minecraft. There's over 30 new features here that can be toggled on and off in game, things like XP from crops, brand new satisfying crafting sounds, placing floating ladders without the need for blocks, and my personal favourite, this awesome day counter. Moving over now to the audio and atmosphere category. Particle rain replaces the default weather with prettier particle effects. But it's not just the rain, it also overhauls snow particles which now rotate as they fall, and it even adds a new sandstorm weather effect to dry biomes. Just take a look at this. Cool Rain is a mod that pairs perfectly with Particle Rain, adding different sounds to rain based on the block it's falling onto. Extending on from the new rain sounds. Drip sounds add sound effects to the default water and lava drip particles. You can also increase or decrease the rate that the particles spawn. Now, if you want to increase the in-game immersion, Immersive Thunder is a great mod to do just that, and another that upgrades the vanilla weather. This mod adds new thunder sounds and plays them dynamically based on the player's distance. The closer to the lightning strike you are, the more intense the sound will be. Taking immersion up a step further, Sound Physics Remastered adds awesome echoey and reverberation sound effects, especially noticeable when caving, doing things like shooting arrows and placing blocks. Presence Footsteps adds realistic sounds for player and mob movement. Now every step, whether on grass, stone or wood, has a distinct sound, making exploration feel much more immersive and grounded. Now with all these new and existing sound effects, we want to have full control over them, and that is where the Sound Controller mod comes into play. This allows you to adjust specific individual sounds, like that loud anvil placing noise, or that annoying nether portal noise in your base, and something I now cannot live without. Now, this final category are the mods I use to record my videos, starting with the Flashback mod. This is the main mod I use to achieve the cinematic shots and the alternate angles you see in my tutorials. You can record your game whilst playing, and then play it back and position the camera any way you'd like. A really powerful tool and perfect for any creator. Now, a similar mod to this is the Replay mod. Now, I don't use this as much as Flashback anymore since that got released. It's generally just a much more advanced tool all round, but I still use this from time to time, so still wanted to include it. And that concludes the full list of mods. Again, I've made these into a mod pack called Simply Crafted. You can find a link for that down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.